Well, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee and Questions podcast. I am, like, to say I'm excited is an understatement, and I'm not just saying that to say that. This very beautiful friend of mine has been someone I've wanted on the show for quite some time, and I think it actually worked out perfect, timing wise, for me to have you, Ashley, because I think the storyline of our conversation is so important right now. But for those of you guys who do not know this lady, her name is Ashley Inman. She is Director of Member Relations at MBA. Kind of an important job, I would say. But Ashley, I'm so excited to have you. Welcome to the show.
I am so excited to be here, Michelle. It's been so much fun getting to know you over the last few years, and I've been watching you and your show, and I cannot wait to be on it today.
Well, I'm so looking forward to this conversation because we're doing it in a little bit of a different way. And I am actually secretly in love with this concept because I think, just the other day, I was on a call with someone and I was getting invited to do this webinar. And on the webinar, they said, "Do we need to invite our ops team?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, for sure we do. Why wouldn't you?" And they kind of gave me some pushback because they're like, "Well, the ops people don't think they need to be on social, right?" So we're going to unpack that a little bit because you have some history there that I think will lead into this conversation really well. But for those people who don't know you and don't know your story and kind of the trajectory that you've been on to go from where you were to where you are now with the MBA, will you give us that story?
Absolutely. So I have actually been in the industry for a little over 12 years now. It's crazy to think it's been that long because I don't feel like I'm that old. I'm only 33, so I started pretty young at a national credit union. I was a processor and was a processor for a few years. I kind of did little odds and ends things. For some reason, they kept giving me like I don't know, like throw the kitchen sink at her and shit. Like I get like the really odds and ends one. Like for example, I did VA loans in Guam specifically, which is a whole different ballgame of
What?
loans and trying to figure out all of the different rules and regs around lot numbers and the way that they do things over there is very different. But did a couple years of that, of just being a processor, senior processor. Kind of went over to the training side a little bit when we started to go through a big LOS implementation. Was the lead trainer for that for a few years, and then moved back into like an assistant manager role of our operations team. I had about 20 or so people under me, from the processors to the closers to lock desk, etc., and what managed that team for another few years. So in total, I was with the credit union for about 6 years before I moved over to my role at MBA. And so I started with MBA in the membership team, just like I am now, as an assistant director of membership, and have kind of worked my way through. I've been at MBA for 6 years now, will be next month, and I have loved every second of it. My main role within MBA is now it's Director of Member Relations, so I manage a big portfolio of all of our residential lenders across the country. So I have a team of 4 people that do the same thing with me, and we're kind of scattered in a regional sense with who we manage. I have a really interesting portfolio area region of the country. I have the Pacific Northwest because I'm based out of Oregon. So I have the Pacific Northwest all the way on top down to Texas. So I have like a big L in the middle of the country.
And then
So
somebody's got California over here.
yeah, Jordan has California because she's based out of San Diego. So the Southwest over here is kind of her little hub, and then a couple scattered in the Midwest. But no, I love what I do. I love my members. I have really great relationships that I've built with my members over the course of the 6 years that I have been here. I attend a lot of conferences and really just utilizing the member engagement that we have and building those relationships and making sure that our members are taken care of. And we are my team is kind of the face of MBA when it comes to our members, because we're the point person for them. So we handle a lot of different things that come at us to be able to point them in the right direction of whatever questions they have, whether that's the policy team or education, research, conferences, etc. We're kind of the middleman between everybody. So
Kind of
I
like the
love what I
get-go.
do.
Kind of like the legit broker in the middle of all of it, right? Like, come to me and
Yep.
then I'll tell you to go to here.
Yep.
But
Exactly.
I love it because I think that I just don't think this conversation is being had, frankly. Like what we're going to be diving into from a leadership perspective, what role does social play for you, right? Because it is such a unique role that you are in. But, on my side, my superpower being prospecting, that's not necessarily your job, right? You're not focused on that because you're not recruiting, you're not bringing people into the organization. But on the flip side, you have the goal and the role of retaining them, right? So will you dive into just a little bit about your thought process first and foremost, kind of like 30,000 foot view, but like just about social, and then maybe get more micro on what does your role look like day to day through your profile that you have right now?
Sure. So 30,000 foot view on social for me, it's something that I've actually tried to lean into a lot more over the last year and a half or two. I didn't really realize the power that it had when I first started out, and especially when I was in my operations role. I never really realized I was never on social from a business standpoint at all until I got to MBA. I really think there's a lot of power behind just being visible on social, not only for yourself, but being able to keep up with what everybody else is posting as well. There's a lot of different views or different areas that people post about, whether that's sales or prospecting. Or just company updates or moving like transition roles or different things like that where we can really utilize it to stay on top of it, on top of where our members are going or what their interests are, what their challenges are. And so for me, really leaning into it about a year or so ago, I really tried to kind of build my own brand, essentially, of how I wanted to show up and how I wanted people to view me on social media. And so really kind of crafting what I want and who I am and making sure that people see that, because as we all know, social media is very much a highlight reel. There's a lot that goes in behind the scenes of what social media actually is and what people are posting. And so what really has blossomed, I feel like, over the last year or two or more is the transparency behind social. People are being a lot more transparent. The people aren't being as scripted as much, which I love and appreciate. And so challenging myself to kind of be that as well is really what I wanted my brand to be. Not scripted. Here's my blooper reel. Here's the me dropping my phone when I'm trying to record this video. Like that's who people want to see because that's who I am. That's who's showing up for coffee if you meet me down the street. Like that's the real person. And so that's what I've really tried to lean into as I've moved more into kind of the social role or using social media for my own business and brand and kind of what that means for me.
Yeah, well, we were talking offline about this, and I'm really curious because you are obviously connected to a lot of your members on social. I imagine they probably find you, or you find them, or some combination of the two. But do you get inbound messages from people about things specific to MBA that they want you for?
Absolutely. Yeah. People know that they can email me, call me, text me on my contacts, but I do also get a lot of messages on LinkedIn. Just maybe that's where they are and they see my name and they say, "Oh, I need to ask Ashley something," or, "Oh, that's MBA. Let me figure out how to get X, Y, and Z, or registration for this conference, or how to get a table for this conference, or whatever it could be." Yeah, there's a lot of different people who message me on Instagram or like on the social channels that are our Instagram pages, whether that's Impact or MBA, or directly through LinkedIn, direct messaging. And a lot of it too can be, hey, by the way, I just changed companies. Can you help me update my MBA profile? Absolutely. Perfect. And then I'll email them from there saying everything's been updated. So there's a huge range of why people reach out on social versus email sometimes.
Yeah, but I think it's important to, and it says something, right? It says the power of your visibility. And more importantly, I think it says the importance of your visibility, right?
Mhm.
Because we were talking a little bit too about, your role in the processor world prior to becoming or filling the role that you are in now. And like I was kind of haphazardly almost joking, but this guy was like, do you want me to invite all the ops team to your webinar. And in my mind, I'm like, of course, yes, right?
Yeah.
But in their mind, they see it as like, well, this person is on the inside of the loans. They don't think of it as, this is not a platform I need to be on to be able to get or to have a relationship with the clients that I'm working with. But you said something that was so important, and I really want to bring it out of you and see if we can continue that side of the conversation, because when someone does a loan, right, I'm actually not talking to the loan officer on the front end most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that person almost plays, I mean, in my mind, a more integral role than the loan officer on the front end.
Yeah, from my time being a processor, there was, and I think I'll back up a little bit because it's different for every company. And so I want to make sure that we know the difference between like consumer direct loan officers versus retail loan officers, and the ones who are really out there hustling for business and they building those relationships. They do reach out and stay in contact with the clients and the borrowers or members as they go through the life of the loan. However, on the flip side, being a processor and spending so many years in the operations side away from kind of the front end loan officer piece, the amount of hours that processors spend on the phone with borrowers, because the processors are the ones that are collecting the docs. They're the ones that are sending the emails or phone calls to these borrowers saying, hey, I need your tax returns, your pay stubs, your bank statements. What is this? What is this gift letter? What is the second lien you have on this house, and where is that coming from? Or there's so many different things that a processor has to package up for the underwriter, the amount of hours they spend on the phone with the borrowers. So really they're member facing, they're client facing as well, if not more than some of the loan officers, especially consumer direct loan officers, most of the time. So there's importance about being able to have that relationship from a consumer standpoint, knowing who your processor is too. Like, loan officers are out there on social all the time. I have a good relationship with you. I want to go through you. I'm no longer talking to you after the fifth day. Now I'm talking to your
Literally after,
processor, but who,
immediately.
yeah,
Immediately.
like
It's like you're on.
who's your processor? So as loan officers, maybe try and like highlight the team a little bit too, or having your processors be on social a little bit more so that you can see now who am I talking to, and oh yeah, I have this relationship. I see that this person loves dogs just as much as I do, or I see this person lives in Texas, and oh, I'm visiting Texas in a few weeks. Like maybe that'll be something that we connect on as well. Just a little bit more of like a deeper level than just me asking for your pay stubs and W-2s and tax returns. So yeah, I think it's really important for your ops team too to just have some visibility on social, because they're customer facing as well. It's not just loan officers or not always having to be sales. It's relationship building. It's relationship business. And I think that's the important piece that a lot of people forget when they look at social and just think of sales or prospecting on that level. There's a lot that goes into the relationship side too.
I think it's so important. And to your point, like let's expose it, right? I mean, when we call the loan officer that we want to use, we talk to them one, two, maybe three times, right? And then they hand you off to the team. And a
Yeah.
lot of them, I will say, I've bought and sold 4 houses, and I'll tell you, like, the loan officers have gotten better at saying, you're going to be introduced to my team, or you're going to meet so and so, right? But I don't think that the front end loan officer, the person who is initially using social as a place to garner business, right, is thinking about the retention of business the way that they should be. Because retention comes from my relationship with the processor, or my relationship with the girl that I'm on the phone with 57 times asking all the questions.
Yep.
When at the end of the day, my relationship with that person is what will likely get me to come back again, not necessarily the relationship with the front end loan officer or the person who initially is how I got in the door.
Yep, exactly. And especially when you get to the point where an underwriter is coming back asking for more or asking for more, or things come up and you have to then ask the borrower for something else. And it's that relationship that's going to really kind of, I feel like, make or break whether or not they stay moving forward or find somebody else. Because if you have that relationship and you're able to explain, look, I'm so sorry, this got flagged on a credit report, but here's why, and the education piece comes in, but it's really that relationship, and I feel like it's very, very important to have.
Well, I think it translates to a lot of things that people are not paying attention to. I was trying to figure out the best way to say what I want to say here, because I want to be careful. Obviously, I want to be respectful of the role that the front end loan officer plays. But I also really think, I had an amazing interview a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about the heart centeredness of the mortgage industry right now, and how like being very focused on the human relationship and not automating ourselves out of relationships, which I think is done so much, right? Too much. Um, that's what I think we're talking about here, is like this little step, this little thing that to most people are like, oh, that doesn't really matter. It actually means everything to the borrower, right? I don't know if I don't know if I'm saying this like in the best possible way, but I just find it to almost feel too transactional on the front end for a loan officer on social right now, where they're almost trying too hard to be that, instead of just to our point, like just remember that you have to care about the consumer. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the consumers will find the right fit. I mean, ultimately, like they'll find the right person that connects with them the most. And I mean, if I can say anything to anyone on social, whether that's a loan officer or whether that's the ops team or anybody, an executive of a company, being yourself and being transparent is 100%, or authentic is 100% the game changer. Like that is what people will connect with. They will connect with you, not a scripted version of you. And if everybody just keeps that in mind, I mean, there's a few people that come to mind as loan officers that I think do an incredible job of this. And they get a ton of business because they're authentic and they show up as who they are and they're not trying to be anything different. And I think that is really the biggest piece, that if people just latch onto that, they will find success in whatever form that looks like for you.
Absolutely. And as it relates to MBA, just out of curiosity, do you guys talk about this internally? Like, do you guys talk about, hey, we as leaders within the company, we have a role to play here? And if you do, what does that conversation sound like?
Absolutely. My team specifically is the membership team, or the M team, and it's who manages the portfolio of lenders in our company. And we have lenders on the residential side, we have our commercial side, and then Alicia, who manages all of our associate vendor member companies. And we all talk about what it looks like to show up on social and how that looks like representing MBA, because you're right, there's a lot of different ways that loan officers to show up as themselves and generate business and build those relationships. And that's not necessarily how MBA is going to utilize social. And so from our standpoint, and this is what I love about MBA, is we're using it to not only make sure that people know our faces, because we are the point of contact for a lot of our member companies, especially in our portfolios. So just having that relationship with our members and being able to have them know what we look like and know our face, so that they can see us at conferences, they can see us on social, they know exactly who to reach out to. As soon as something with MBA comes up, they recognize my face and say, oh, let me reach out to Ashley. That's the biggest piece that we want to put forward. But then the best piece, I feel like, from an MBA standpoint, is utilizing those relationships so that when something big happens in our industry, a big policy announcement happens, or something with the CFPB happens, and we put out a post, or Bob puts out a video message on an update of something that's happened, we can then repost it with our own story and with our own thoughts and views on our channels, so that our members see that and it really gets highlighted, and that a really, really important piece that Bob has put out, or our PR team has put out on such an important topic, can get viewed by the people that matter, or that need that information the most, which is our members and the ones that we have built that relationship with. And so I think that's another big powerful tool that social has, is reaching a lot more people than just emails, because that post will go out in an email as well, or on our news link, which is great, and maybe reach a few thousand people, but we can reach another few thousand people on social. And so it's just another arm and another tool that we can use to really get important information out without always having to rely on old school way of disseminating information.
But I also think I think you're opening a can of worms in a good way here. So I'm going to say it this way. There are some other organizations, right, that do not have the depth that we're talking about. And so one of the things we're talking, I hear a lot is, membership base. How, well, our membership's gone down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we can't seem to get people to buy tickets to conferences, or people don't renew their memberships, right? Like the retention of year after year, like those things fall off. And
Mm-hmm.
it begs the question, and I can think of, a couple of specific organizations in my mind that I will leave nameless, but say their leadership's not doing what we're talking about here. And not just their leadership, but other individuals within the organization that play vital roles are not doing this, right? Because they think that's not my job. I'm not, quote, client facing. Well, I'm sorry, but you sure are,
Yeah.
right? And when I go to an event, you're running the event, right? But I don't know who you are, so therefore I'm not going to come to you with questions, and it creates other issues, like kind of a ripple effect of other issues. So what I hear you describing is like MBA is really focused on legs, like digging in and being everywhere, right? And something as simple as sharing a video from, I don't know, is Bob your CEO? I assume,
Yeah.
right? So when Bob goes and shares a video, and you have all of you guys, like you're 6 people, for example, all of you share it. You guys have your own communities that you've built, and it really sort of strengthens the roots of the relationships that those people have with MBA, because they may not have even ever seen that video via email because, for whatever reason they don't open it, or it goes to spam or junk or whatever, right? Plus we all get a bazillion emails, and it's like it could get missed.
Yeah.
So it amplifies a very important message, but more importantly, it retains eyeballs. And at the end of the day, it's kind of the point of a membership organization, if I'm understanding the
Yeah.
business model correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, my role is to provide my members and MBA members with the value, showing them the value that MBA is and be what that means to be an MBA member. And for me, what that means is there's so many different pieces to MBA and there's so many different moving parts, and each company is going to take something from each part of MBA, or each arm or branch or whatever you want to call it, whether that be our policy and legislative team, or research, data, and benchmarking, or education, conferences, whatever that may be to a specific member. It's our job as the membership team to be able to highlight all of the incredible things that MBA is doing and working for on behalf of our members. And I think that's the biggest piece that we try and really highlight is MBA does so much behind the scenes for our members and advocacy for our industry that when something happens or we put a white paper out, a lot of times our members have no idea that we've put hundreds of hours into multiple white papers and RFIs, or the request for information from the CFPB or HUD or any of the legislating bodies on Capitol Hill, where we have advocated on behalf of our members. That information is what we really want to show, and because it really creates that impact that they're looking for, and they're a part of it as an MBA member. And so showing that on social is just, again, using it as a tool to really just have as many eyeballs on it as we can, because that will really show the value proposition of what MBA is.
I mean, it's awesome to me that you guys even like care this much. I think is an important part of the conversation, but two, more importantly, that you are listening, like you are really listening to what's going on. And I mean, I obviously run a social media prospecting company where I have loan officers and mortgage professionals calling me every day. I need to be doing this. I need to be doing this. And I think what's interesting is it's like you're hearing that on your side from your people of what they need and what they want, but you're also doing a better job, I think, than anyone that I've seen at, okay, we hear you, and now we're going to show you that we are also listening and doing the things that you need us to do. And I think, I think it goes full circle. And again, I think also if you don't have a unanimous buy-in of everyone on the team has a role to play here in the overall success of this organization, whether you're behind the scenes of a file, whether you're on the front end of a file, whether you're the person getting the realtor relationships to build any business at all, every single person plays such a vital role in that and truly can make or break the retention of, is this person going to come back or are they not, frankly.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's cool. It's really cool to see that that's a focus for you guys. Not just on your level as a director of member relations, but also on other sides of the organization in other areas. Question for you, because I, again, just curious, but when you get feedback from members about social, what is the feedback? Like, what are they even asking for?
From a standpoint of them
Like
starting out on social,
like
or
an
what they want?
education based or knowledge based. Like if they're reaching out to you saying, "Hey, we need this," or "Hey, we want this," what does that look like?
Yeah, so we don't get too much members reaching out to us just for kind of like how to get started on social or what they want to be doing on social. I think what we get more of is just feedback essentially on what we've really started to do over the last year and a half or so, of them just appreciating the fact that that we have both sides now. We have the videos that our PR team does on the serious issues, and that's stuff that we repost, whether that's a video from Bob or Pete Mills or something on the legislative team that's happening. There's those really important videos that we can repost, and they've streamed those. But then we also have the side from my team and our standpoint of the transparent, hey, I'm going to be planning the MBA Runs 5K at the annual conference. I would love everybody to be there. Here's a challenge. Let's go. And I'll just post it and go. But they still know me as MBA. They still know me as the person who leads MBA Runs or their point of contact. And so there's a wide range of everything that MBA now posts. And I think that the feedback that we've gotten from members on that too is that they appreciate that we're transparent or authentic in that sense as well. And so they really see that there's a time and a place for both, and they like the approach of both, which I appreciate, because there is.
I think it's cool that they are honoring what you guys are doing, but if anything, in my mind, like my brain is saying to myself, well, hopefully it kicks them into gear too of like, hey, you also need to be present here, just like the energy and effort that we are putting in wouldn't be so bad for you to put the same type of energy and effort into your own,
Yeah.
Um,
The other thing that I will say too, that Alicia Gonsalves is really good on my team. She's really good about doing this. Is she highlights our members a lot. Like a lot of her members that are on the vendor side and our associate members, she does a weekly highlight of, look at what this amazing company is doing, or well, look at what this person from X, Y, and Z company is doing, and how they've utilized MBA membership to further their industry participation. Or this person, I don't know, there's so many different ways that we're trying to spotlight our members as well on social, and that's a really fun piece of what we can use social for, and really just highlighting the relationships that we've built along the way. And so I love that Alicia has really started to do that over the last year or so.
Again, it's just like strategy behind it, right? It's like putting the energy and the effort and like the little things that go so far for a membership organization. I just think it's so overlooked. And I also want to honor David, as somebody who has put a lot of time and effort and energy into LinkedIn. And it's like being able to watch him and see him there. It brings, like, the moral of the story, right, is it brings MBA back to the top of your mind space, and like literally the whole top of mind. I want to be top of mind. Well, give yourself the opportunity to even get that, right?
Yeah.
Especially because we're in such a oversaturated environment. And I think, one of the many things I love about you, but what we connected on initially was we're both moms of little boys and we both love fitness. And, I had never spoken for MBA. I had never done anything for them, but I knew that that was, on the radar and would have been a cool thing for me. But to have a connection to someone that I just genuinely really like and that I think will really get to know me and hopefully share that sentiment creates and opens doors for you, right? That otherwise wouldn't have been there. And like, yes, I'm excited to say that I've done a webinar for MBA and have other things planned, but I think the important part of that is it doesn't have to only be executive leadership. that gets you indoors, if that's a place that you want to get into. It could just be the people that make up the membership and the people that also play
Yeah.
roles in the retention of the membership.
Yep.
Um, so I just think it's so cool. And like, I know the world needs to know this, but Ashley and Michelle are going to do a High Rocks together someday. I just am saying that. And we're going to
Put it into the universe.
we're going to legit have a videographer because I just feel like we need all the micro content out of this because I just love it. But,
Yeah.
and for anyone who's watching this that doesn't know, Ashley and I have never actually met in person before, but we already are planning this. So,
Yep.
because I know she's probably fitter than I am, truthfully. But it's so fun when you get to build those types of relationships with people, right? And I just honor you in that sense too, because even though you don't play a role in, hey, I have to garner business for the company, you think it's so important to maintain it. And your love of an organization and how well you serve it, I think plays into that. So it's just cool.
I
And I'm
appreciate that.
excited. I'm excited about our High Rock someday. Wink,
Me
wink.
too. Me too.
Well,
I think it'll
maybe it's
be
in our city.
it'll be really fun. And I yes to a videographer.
Right? I mean, like, come on, you got to document that stuff. Um,
Right?
like two very like fit girls from two totally different states that have never met in real life meet together for High Rocks in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know,
Yep.
right?
And crush
Maybe
it.
somewhere,
Top 10.
maybe somewhere cooler. Maybe not Atlanta. Um,
Yeah, maybe in the winter.
okay, yeah, right. Or like, hey, I'll go to Phoenix in the winter because it'll actually just be like 60. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
perfect. There you
I
go.
think it's great. But Ashley, in all seriousness, I'm just excited and looking forward to people hearing this conversation. I think it's a very unique angle on it, which is something I'm proud to bring to the table here. But for anybody that wants to get connected to you, where can we find you? And then my
Mhm.
favorite question to ask when I wrap up a show is, where or what are you doing next, or what's coming up for you that someone could get dialed into if they are not already?
Great question. So if you want to reach out to me, my contact information is on my LinkedIn. You can message me on LinkedIn. You can send me an email. It's just my first initial last name, so Inman at MBA.org. Please feel free to reach out for anything and anything you need. Happy to help. And the things that are upcoming right now for me, and especially for MBA, I would say I think our biggest thing is our annual conference in Vegas towards the end of October. We are really gearing up for an incredible conference. This is going to be one for the books. I'm excited. There's so much being planned. There's so many new features being planned as well for associate members and stuff in the hub and stuff centered around technology and AI. And there's just so many really incredible new features that my conference and meetings team is coming up with this year that is really going to be cool to experience. So definitely annual. The other thing that I will say for one of our next kind of biggest conferences and more important conference as well as our IMB conference in January. That one's really, really important specifically to IMBs, independent mortgage bankers. Really, the content is drilled down just for you guys. So please, like that is one of the best conferences we have as well. So I'm really excited about both. And yeah, if you, the other thing I will say too is my membership team hosts a lot of, they're called exec collectives, roundtables that we come to whatever city you want, and we invite all of the members that are in that city. And it's a 2 or 3 hour session that is an intimate setting where we can bring in our policy team, research, education, and really have an open conversation about what you're experiencing, what any top of mind issues are. You have direct access to our policy team, our legislative team, our lobbyists. You can ask us questions. It's a really good 2 to 3 hour session, and we can come to any city. So if that is of interest to you or you want to host any of the exec collectives, I would love to chat more about that. So
Oh my gosh.
let me
Come to
know.
Nashville. Even like there's lots of MBA in Nashville, right? Just come here
Yes,
and we'll plan our own
absolutely.
meetup. If you're listening to
Yep.
this and you want one, you can also, I'll come and I'll hang out and we'll make it 4 hours. So we'll do an hour at the end on
Perfect.
social, and then we'll let Ashley and her team crush it for the first 3 hours, and then we'll go have I don't drink anymore. I know you don't drink anymore either, Ash, but
Nope.
like we'll go do something. We'll do something fun after that. But
Yeah,
if you're in
I love it.
Nashville and you want to do one locally, come on, guys, reach out. But
I love it.
thank
Nashville
you.
can be our next stop.
Hey, I would love it. But thank you so much for being on the show. And of course, guys, if you're listening to this and you have any feedback, want to leave a review, we love that. And also any recommendations, of course, for other people that you would like for me to interview, we welcome all of it. So again, Ashley, thank you for being here and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It was a pleasure. I had so much fun.